Hey guys, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. It really means a lot, and I hope if you enjoy, leave a like or comment, but let's move on away from that. Today I will be starting a new series where I teach you guys how to make a Minecraft multiplayer online battle arena or MOBA using just vanilla Minecraft and a redstone. If you don't know what a MOBA is, it's kind of like League of Legends or Dota or Smite, any of those kinds of games. And hopefully you guys enjoy this series. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And of course, I'll be walking you guys through every step. So without further ado, let's get started. In this episode, we'll be creating the world that we will be building the MOBA in. Alright, let's begin. So to start this off, you guys will notice that I'm in Minecraft 14W30C snapshot. In the bottom left, you can see that. The reason I use 30C is that even though the redstone is a little bit, tiny bit of buggy, like clocks and game ticks and all that, it's got a lot of more important commands and features that we're going to need to make a Minecraft MOBA based on League of Legends. But anyways, let's just get to the actual world. If you click on single player, create new world, you're going to want to name the world something that you can remember, obviously. I'm going to call it Minecraft MOBA. Oops, my bad. MOBA. You're going to want it in creative mode, obviously. Generate structures should be off. Allow cheats should be on. Bonus chests should be off. Now the world type, we're going to make it a completely empty world so that we can have the least lag possible. So you're going to make it a super flat world and we're going to customize it. Now if you click on presets and you go to this box, you notice there's a bunch of stuff and you can go ahead and erase all the way until you get 3 semicolon Minecraft colon. Now what we're going to do, excuse me, here is we're just going to put air semicolon. That is it. And with that, you'll notice it only gives us one layer of air blocks, which we can move through. It won't let us break them. And thus, that is considered a world by Minecraft logic. It's hard to describe. It's basically a super flat world made of air blocks, which are blocks that we cannot destroy or see. Now we click done, and once you're ready, create new world. Now, you're going to want to start flying immediately or else you'll fall into infinity and die. But as you guys can see, it's a nice open world. There's a lot of room for possibility. The sun's just rising and everything's hunky-dory. Now, what you're going to want to do first is you're going to set yourself at 0, 0 because 0, 0 is just easy to remember as like the spawn point or, where you store all your redstone. It's easy to remember 0, 0 as opposed to like 1687 by 720, whatever. So to do that, you're just going to do TP space 0 space 64 space 0. We are 64 blocks up from the bottom layer, just so that, we have some space between us and the ground. And from here, you're just going to want to do slash set block relative to stone. And what this does is it gives us a nice little block right here. And you'll notice that if we do the same teleport command, the TP0640, but we do it with 65, we'll end up right on top of this stone. So now anytime you want to get back to where we're building the redstone, you just have to teleport to 0650. And we also have this block here, so we don't have to constantly be flying. So that's how you get the world set up. Now, let's talk about what you're going to need in a MOBA. You're going to need various character traits or stats for the people that you play as in the MOBA, or the classes, I should say, depending on, what your MOBA is going to be like. You're going to need defensive machines that will target certain people or teams. You're going to need minions. So you're going to need to account for all these things. And the way I like to do it is I like to have my main spot, and I like to build off, and then start building away from this block. So when I spawn on this block, I'm not immediately inside a redstone contraption. I got my minions machine over there. I got my defensive machines over here. I got the characters or classes over there. And it's nice and handy. Another thing to keep in mind is that obviously where we spawned was not at 0, 0 because we had to teleport to 0, 0. So we want to make sure this is the world spawn and the spawn point, and I'll explain why in a second. If we go ahead and look straight down at this block, make sure we're right on it, and we do slash set world spawn, the world spawn is now at this block. Any new player who joins the game will spawn right there. You're also going to want to do just, a normal slash spawn point. So when you die, you'll end up on this block in case, for some reason, oh, I forgot to fly, oh no, or something, I don't know, or you're testing something even that requires you to die. Then there you go. So now that this is set up, let me explain why we did that. The reason that is important is because okay, in Minecraft, there's things called chunks. They're squares of blocks, essentially 16 by 16, and the world is full of them. In fact, when you're rendering, like your render distance, you're actually rendering chunks or sections of the world in 16 by 16s. And the reason Minecraft does this is to save storage. So for example, way out over my render distance, I mean, you can't really tell because we're not in a normal survival world, we're in a empty world. But way out past my render distance, there are chunks that I can't see because it's outside of my render distance, and Minecraft's not going to render chunks that are too far away. So when I leave this chunk, or these chunks, to go see the other chunks over there, those chunks will load, and these ones will disappear because these ones are out of my vision, and that actually makes my Minecraft run faster instead of just loading every single chunk. The problem with that, however, is that if you make a redstone machine in this chunk and then you leave the chunk vanishes. Well, it doesn't vanish, it's still there, but we don't see it, and therefore any redstone dust, repeaters, comparators, um, mobs, entities, anything of that sort is not working. It is completely irrelevant, useless. Until we come back, whatever is going on in this chunk will not work unless you're in one of the spawn chunks. Now you're probably wondering what that means. Well, it's actually pretty self-explanatory. A spawn chunk is the chunk that you spawn in. So we set this block right here to the world spawn, meaning that this chunk that the block is in, which I believe, let's check. Yeah, the chunk is right here. Like this is one corner and the other corner would be like right, let's see. It would be right, where is it? Somewhere around here. And in that chunk is a spawn chunk, of course, because we set this to the spawn point, and because of Minecraft logic, the spawn point always has to be loaded, in case you die, of course, so you can just immediately go back and it's already loaded. This means that if I were to build a redstone machine right on this block, now that we set it as the spawn point in the world spawn, no matter where I go, these machines will always work in this chunk. So you always want to make sure that you build your important redstone stuff near this chunk or in the chunks that are nearby because it will also save a couple chunks out. I don't remember how many exactly, but just remember to keep it all in this general area and you should be fine. And then that way, no matter where the actual map is, where players will be fighting, um, you'll have your stuff running in the background. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up the world so that it's a lot more like, I guess, convenient or like eye-catching. Um, and what I mean by this, I'll kind of explain. But as you guys can see, the sun is moving all around. Soon it's going to turn nighttime. I'm going to have to either build an auto daytime machine or use the command myself, slash time set day. But no one really likes that. What we can do to get rid of that is we can do slash game rule, do daylight cycle, and make sure you get the caps correct because that is very important, to false. Oops, not flas. False. And now you guys will notice if we stare at the sun is no longer moving. It is locked at whatever daytime it is. So if we go ahead and do slash time set day, it's now at the daytime position and it's locked. It can't move. It will be there forever like that until we do this command again, but instead of false, we put true. That's helpful because now we can build the redstone and test things without having to worry about, oh, slash time set day and all that. Another thing you're going to want to do is slash game rule command block output. Again, make sure the capitals are correct. You're going to want to set that to false. We're going to use a lot of command blocks, and command blocks like to fill your chat with lots and lots of things, just like I've done, except it would be much worse than what you guys see right now. You want to definitely make sure that that's false because otherwise the command blocks will spam your chat. Sometimes I might recommend setting it back to true, only so that you can test to see if a command block is actually functioning or not. Because sometimes you'll set up a machine and it doesn't work and you think you coded it wrong, but really it's just because the command block's not even getting powered. So that's important. Another one that you are going to want for a MOBA, at least in this particular tutorial, to do slash game rule do mob spawning to false. Now what that means is that no matter what, no mob in the entire game can just spawn on its own. You have to use the eggs or slash summon command in the chat. The reason this is helpful, well, I'm sure you guys can figure that one out on your own, but if you can't, it's just so that, you know, there's no creepers and stuff running around our thing. Again, it's highly impossible now that it's always daytime, but just want to make sure. Another thing to point out is that now that we've done that, is you want to make sure you are not on peaceful, because we are going to need it off of peaceful to do a lot of different things, including the minions. I think there's one last game rule that we need for now. I might add a couple more later on, but you guys will know about that. The next one we're going to need is do mob loot. I think that's what it is. Let's check. You can always hit tab to scroll through these and it will automatically rate them. But yeah, it's do mob loot. We're going to set that to false. Now, the reason I do that personally for Minecraft MOBAs is because if you have like a zombie, say, that people can kill for experience or some sort of mystical item, you don't want them dropping rotten flesh and experience. Well, okay, you might want them dropping experience, but you don't want them dropping um, rotten flesh. And the reason you don't want them dropping rotten flesh is because then you know your character's inventory gets full of rotten flesh, and that's really obnoxious. Now, later on, I'll make it so that there will be monsters that you can just go out into the wild and fight during the battle and get some experience and special items, but I want to make sure that the items that drop from zombies are like, you know, things that would be relevant to the game and not rotten flesh or spider eyes, and that's why we do that command. I think that's about it for game rules, I think. Yes. All right. Let me check the time here. All right, we're at 12 minutes. I might... I don't think there's anything left to do to set up the world. So I think that's actually it. Next time, though, we'll work on getting the scoreboard set up. We'll work on making the teams. We'll work on every variable, my bad, that you'll need in your Minecraft MOBA. And from there, we'll just kind of start working on the actual fun stuff, the redstone, the coding, the headaches. So yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video, and I hope you guys enjoy this series. Adios.